Alright, next draft. What do we got? And by draft, I mean sealed. Okay, so white. Portable Hole, and Steadfast Unicorn, and Flaming Fist Dustguard, good. Mace of Disruption, and Rescuer Schwinga, good. 3 Steadfast Paladins is pretty impressive. Blessed Hippogriff is good. Pegasus Guardians, meh. Soon's Intervention is pretty excellent so far from all of my experiences playing against it. In blue, we have Hypnotic Pattern, Looter, Shocking Grasp. I'm not even going to really look at blue until I see a card that actually makes me want to be in blue for whatever reason. Gale's Redirection. 3 blue, instant. Exile target spell, then roll a d20 and add that spell's mana value. You may cast the exiled spell for as long as it remains exiled, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast that spell, or you may cast the exiled spell without paying its mana cost for as long as it remains exiled. Okay, so 5 mana counter spell that if you're countering a 5-drop has a slightly better than 50% chance of being free, and if not, it's card advantage. That's pretty reasonable. 2 Air Cult Elementals is pretty reasonable. 2 Water Weirds is actually kind of nice too. An Ancient Silver Dragon, 8-drop. 8 mana, 8/8 flying. Whenever Ancient Silver Dragon deals combat damage to player, roll a d20, draw cards equal to the result. Why is this so bad? What? It's so expensive, and then all it does is, kill you? So it's just an 8 mana, 8/8 flyer with, an ability that's probably a downside in limited? I mean, I guess if it connects and kills your opponent, you kill them before the draw trigger. Are all the Ancient Dragons like that? The white one is amazing. It's a 7 mana 7/10, which is a stellar stat line for a flyer. And then you make X 1/1 flyers, where X is what you roll on a d20 if it connects. So it provides you infinite blockers after hitting your opponent, which wins the game. I think all the Ancient Dragons are on hit roll a d20, yeah. Wow. I don't know. That is not exciting. I mean, there's a lot of depth to blue here, so I could try it. Black has 2 Sepulchre Ghouls, a Horde Robber, 2 Vacona Nightsinger's Disciple. Okay. That's pretty good. Because this specializes into, actual card advantage. Nefarious Imp, 2 Spires, or 2 Vampire Spawns, Ambition's Cost, Servok, Eye of the Beholder's fine. Hourglass Coven? Oh, we might be in black. Hourglass Coven's kind of like a bomb. An absurd bomb. Red has 2 Warcallers, 3 Giant Fire Beetles. This pool is got a lot of depth in every color. My. 2 Unexpected Windfalls, 3 Warriors of Tiamat. That's a top end, all right. Favored Enemy. As favored enemy enters the battlefield, note the most prevalent creature type in an opponent's library. Note it. Very well. When it enters the battlefield, target creature you control fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. Whenever a creature an opponent controls of the noted type dies, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Huh. That's an interesting design. And just kind of reasonable-ish cards. We have an OG. We have an Asterion. We have a Kalane. We definitely have to be in black. Do we go in black-white? Or black-blue? The red is cool, and, actually red that I would dig doing in some kind of more aggressive deck, but I don't think that aggressive is what our black is trying to do. I mean, it can, but it doesn't really need to. I mean, we have the Hourglass Coven, we have late game removal, we have card draw, we have Laconia. I kind of feel like what I'm probably supposed to do is just play the... I actually have like so many 2-drops already though, but Steadfast Paladins and Soon are both so good. Pegasus Guardian to flicker Hourglass Coven. Like, that's gotta be the play, right? What do we do with the rest of this? Guess Nefarious Imp is like playable-ish. Mind Rot's probably playable-ish. Is Portable Hole playable? Eyes is too expensive. Yeah, but I mean, it's not like I'm looking for cuts yet. Oh, Asterion definitely sees play. I have like infinity 6-drops. Maybe this is just an 18-land deck? I feel like Portable Hole being an answer to 2-drops when I have infinity 2-drop answers to 2-drops is not really what I'm in the market for. If I'm playing this many 6-drops, I'm probably supposed to play Lantern of Revealing. Which at that point puts me at looking for cuts. So we could cut Eyes of the Beholder. It's very expensive. Do we have any other removal? We don't actually have other removal. That is a concern. Yeah. Alright. Eyes of the Beholder I do not believe is, like, actually very good, so I don't dislike cutting it really at all. I'm pretty okay with that. Summon Undead. We have Servok and Viconia. I'm kind of interested in Summon Undead when we have Hourglass Coven as like a turbo bomb that's worth reanimating. Cut the 1-drop trick. I think the 1-drop trick is like quite a bit better with us having so many 2-drops, because there's going to be like ample opportunity for us to get tempo out of the 1-drop trick. It's kind of the same reason that Blessed Hippogriff is excellent, even if the creature half is only fine. There's just a huge amount of value to get out of 1-mana tempo swings. If I really want to try playing this Summon Undead, what do we need to cut? I kind of value Nefarious Imp for the scrying when we have so many bombs. I guess I gotta get rid of Black Dragon. What do we think? Is Black Dragon, like, appealing? I kind of feel like this card's probably not great, but it does answer flyers, which is something we currently kind of lack for. I mean, I guess we have Pegasus Guardian. I don't think that's good, but it's... It's amusing that Pegasus Guardian is like something that synergizes so strongly with treasure tokens. And this is a color combination that is not the best at making treasure tokens. Yeah, it's true. We can reanimate the dragon. That's something. I'm probably just supposed to cut a 2-drop, realistically. But I don't actually know which 2-drop. It's probably Horde Robber. It's probably Horde Robber. I'm going to assume that it's Horde Robber. Alright, I think we're going to go with that. It gives something -3, -3, which is solid, but it also costs 7 mana, which is a lot. Like, if Eyes of the Beholder is clunky, then the thing that's more expensive than it that removes fewer things is also clunky. I'd be really into the Black Dragon if it cost 6 mana like all the other dragons, but I don't know. I don't know. Okay, we are going first. We have good cards in hand and lands. That seems pretty good. So I imagine I'm supposed to play Steadfast Paladin on 2, so that if my opponent plays something to just bump with it, then we gain life. And I'm not really aggressive, so I don't care about the fact that Sepulchre Ghoul gets damage through blockers better. Like, that's just not as relevant to me. Viconia seems cool. Oh no, my opponent played a Steadfast Paladin. That trades with my Steadfast Paladin. I'm okay with this. I'm just gonna sit here, continuing to gain life. Buying time for our Hyper Bombs to do their Hyper Bomb thing. Priest of Ancient Lore is pretty good. Us continuing to make land drops is also pretty good. Now, I don't really want to specialize this Viconia anytime soon, I don't think. Mostly I want to turn like my 7th land into card advantage with Viconia. So I think for the time being we just have Viconia chill out and block Priest. Not Rasad. So that stops my Viconia. Temporarily. Can I just trade my Sepulchre Ghoul with the Priest of Ancient Lore then? Oh, nope. Okay. Well, I guess I just block my opponent's stuff with Vampire Spawn in that case. Could keep attacking. Doesn't seem quite right. If. Alright. My opponent's nonsense is powerful. Hazel is a lot of damage. Especially if they specialize before I have a chance to blink it. Return up to 2 target creatures, so they can get Steadfast back, or they can Seek. Soon's Intervention giving us some flash blockers has the potential to... Oh, hey, cool, they can remove blockers. That's sad. Has the potential to ambush Lae'zel in a meaningful way. I have enough life that I think I just don't want to put more stuff in their graveyard for the time being. It just makes their Lae'zel reanimation stuff better. Now would be a good time to draw an Hourglass Coven. So now that I didn't put their Priest in the graveyard, I'm assuming they're going to make Lae'zel into a white card, or white specialization instead? Yes. Okay. Do we hold on to the Swamp on the off chance we manage to kill the Rasad? Loses all abilities. So if they make Rasad into a white card, I'm very unhappy, but if they make it into anything else, I'm fine. Mostly fine. I think I'm supposed to play this land drop out for the purposes of activating Lantern later. Steadfast Unicorn sorcery only? Nope. Harsh. Minthara. Okay. We have problems. I would like to gain 3 life. Ghoul is fine. Blocking stuff and pumping their team with Minthara kind of sucks, but I don't really have good alternatives. Dear me. Okay. How are we doing this? I'm going to need to top deck some bombs. I don't even have a lot of removal that actually kills Minthara or Lae'zel, which are the real troublesome cards here. Depending on what they do, I might be able to top deck the 7-drop dragon and kill the Rasad, which would at least be something. I can't really let my opponent hit me for 8. So that has to be stopped. Shambling Ghast. Okay. And a Paladin. Okay. Well, that's not good. Do we want to put Rescuer Schwinga on the bottom of our library? Yes. Lyconia. Interesting. Okay, so play, exile, specialize, have 2 mana remaining. We would specialize into white, which means I could get back Priest. Is that better than Pegasus? That's probably better than Pegasus. Alright, well. I mean, I guess that was sort of card advantage-ish. We're still alive to top deck Hourglass. Our reanimation spell is also probably fine at this point, since it could get back the Pegasus Guardian, which might be fine. Removal spells. Sacrifice another creature. That's not fair. I should be able to sacrifice it to itself to fizzle that treasure production. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. Well, once again, I think I'm probably chump blocking Lae'zel. Which means basically losing my entire board except for the Viconia. They should not attack with the Steadfast Paladin and to just get thrown away. No, I don't think that I'm actually supposed to block the Shambling Ghast. It triggers the Minthara. Oh, they can trigger the Minthara anyway with a treasure. That's pretty horrible if they notice. That's actually another reason not to block the Shambling Ghast. They'd get to, like, Anthem 3 times in a row. Alright, well, I don't really think I can win at this point. So we jump block, take 3, 7, 11? 11's a lot of damage. Kind of just has to be top decking Hourglass Coven and nothing else does it. I mean, presumably there could be some way that they let Rasad die that gives us something. They could also just disconnect, I guess. If I'm sitting over here trying to create drama while I'm mostly, almost certainly dead. Alright, opponent. They can still actually sack that treasure to bump the Minthara on their turn, but it means sorcery speed, way to make a treasure, does not result in them having lethal immediately. So is this the kind of riveting content y'all want to be here for? Thus far, it mostly just seems like following up on earlier information. Yes, Minthara and Lae'zel are quite excellent above rate, powerfully tempo-y cards. Oh, I didn't even get to activate my lantern? Disappointing. Okay. Alright. I guess sometimes those games happen. I'm reminded of the fact that I made it into Rivals League. The game that I qualified for Rivals League in was day 2 of a qualifier weekend, round 7, while 6-1, opponent just queued up and then disconnected turn 1 and left. And that's how I made Rivals. So it does happen. Okay. We have a good 2-drop. Doesn't do anything early on, but it's got good stats. As far as I'm concerned, that's mostly the definition of a good 2-drop. Oh no! My opponent's 1-2 has Death Touch. Whatever will I do? What if I use my combat trick? I guess. I don't know. I'm trying to make this entertaining. I have like one choice here. Owlbear Shepherd. Sure. I admit, I thought this card was very good originally, but I have seen very few board states that actually stall out to the point where it would be impactful. So I think I might have overrated this card initially. It just doesn't seem to be the kind of board states we typically find ourselves in. Should I just draw 3? I feel like I should probably just draw 3, rather than develop board state by playing the Hippogriff. I don't need to kill my opponent when I can draw more cards. Although I admit that when I said I was going to draw cards, I kind of figured that I would draw like a 5-drop. I guess maybe I don't have 5-drops. Who knows? Let's just sit here dirtling, since the opponent seems to be dirtling. Howdy, Mary. Thanks for the resub. I continue to appreciate the support. Alright. Opponent scrying and drawing, and then we are going to flicker Vampire Spawn, because that's card advantage and stuff. Yeah, my baseline was, I don't think this card is terrible because I do think a 3-mana 1/4 is valuable, but I've also just not seen very many board states where it was actually going to draw cards. So I was comparing it to the black 1/4 that makes a treasure and can sack stuff to draw cards. And I think there are formats where Owlbear Shepherd would have been a better card than that, but I don't think this one is that. But that also means that, alright, this is a card that I think is worse than one of the best uncommons in the set, which Still leaves a lot of room for it to be a solid card you should play when you have it. Oh no! My poor vampire spawn. Do I want to play Asterion? Or do I want to play Flamefist Duskguard into Blessed Hippogriff? It does give us a 3/3 flyer. That'd be pretty cool. I mean, Asterion's mostly pretty good. My opponent played one counter spell in their Drago deck. They're probably playing more, right? Undersimplifies counter unless they pay 2. I actually really just don't want this Blessed Hippogriff getting countered by another Undersimplify. So I'm just going to play it in a silly order. And not put the +1/+1, or well, +1/+0 counter, or modification on the Hippogriff. Ew. I mean, I suppose that I'm glad that I didn't put it on the Hippogriff now that my opponent has a 4/4 flyer. It just happens to be an annoyingly solid blocker. Let's see. I mean, I can Rescuer Schwinga back whatever they block. I guess if I had given it +1 power, then Servok would be able to push it through the dragon. But now that is not the case. I'm probably just supposed to resolve Asterion while they're tapped out. Do I have any good attacks here? I jump the Duskguard, swing with everything. They block the Hippogriff, chump. Take 5 and then another 5. I guess that's probably an okay attack. Okay. Well, the opponent can just choose not to block anything with their dragon out of fear of a combat trick. That is also an option. Target opponent loses life equal to the amount of life they lost. And we're just casually going to nug our opponent for 7. Okay. Seems good. I have not been playing any alchemy. Since this set has come out, I have been playing only sealed to prep for the qualifier. Okay. So they have a 4/4, except the 4/4 has flying. Fair enough. Alright, well... I mean, mostly it looks like they have 3 blockers and I have 5 lethal threats. So I guess we're just going to swing with everything. I guess I was supposed to pump the Flame Fist, so that if they blocked the Flame Fist with a 4/4, they died. But, like... mostly this seems like my opponent's pretty dead here. Oh, I was, like, super supposed to attack with everything and then Rescuer Schwing back the Vampire Spawn for the last 2 points of damage on the off chance they had, like, a fog. That was an error. I don't think there's a fog in this format, to be fair. Oh, I also could have specialized Viconia to get 2 points of drain by playing a Basilisk? So yeah, I definitely had options here. They were better than playing Servok. For certain definitions of better. Oh, is there a life gain instant in the format that I should be concerned about? In these colors? Oh, okay. Yeah, that works. Alright. I did, in fact, successfully mess up. In multiple ways. And it actually all mattered. Cool. Good work, opponent. You successfully enabled me to snatch not victory from the jaws of victory. So let's go ahead and specialize while they're tapped out. And put a card in hand that will do 2 damage to them. I was not expecting the single blue kill 2 creatures spell. Yeah, okay. So despite me punting away a turn, I guess not punting. I had never seen that card actually cast. So it is educational to learn that single blue, 2 creatures get -2/-2 is a card people put in their blue decks, which that's not unreasonable. That's actually a pretty good, solid, playable card in blue. Alright, I'm going to go use the restroom. Alright, we have our Gate to play on turn 1, a Paladin to play on turn 2, and a Ramp spell to play on turn 3. Alright. This looks like a plan to me. Ooh. Reanimation nonsense. Exciting. Steadfast Paladin blocking Hobgoblin Captain sounds like a good plan. So do I just jam the turn 4 Summon Undead and hope we mill a 6-drop bomb? Oh. I was hoping they'd just run into the Paladin, so that, like, worst case scenario, I would be able to reanimate the Paladin. But that does not look like what the opponent is planning to do. The first... This is wild. Sure. The first deck that we played was Teamer. It did not go super well. Although, I think the deck was actually decent. I think we just drew really underwhelming combinations of cards in underwhelming orders. Whee! I love my opponent not getting to ramp. But that video is actually up on YouTube if you wanted to watch it. Alright, so now I could jam Summon Undead. I could do it. I could be brave and cool. I could also, like, try to reanimate the Black Dragon instead. Okay, so I lose, because Will is, like, probably the best card in the set. This is not even particularly close. Okay, well, I just have to play Summon Undead here, because I have to hit the Witch's card. No, we just milled the rest of the Paladins. Harsh. Okay, how much damage am I taking here? Because I think it's, like, infinite. Am I dead? No. Okay. If they had 2 red cards to discard, I think I was dead. Because they could have made a red Servok, pumping their Will, and then sacked to untap Will and get to attack again. And that would have just, like, actually killed me. I think I'm probably still dead anyway. Let's see. No. I think I was dead if they just, like, targeted Will even without discarding anything to Servok, right? Like Will of 5/5. Oh. Yeah, now I'm super dead. Super infinity mega dead. Well, they might not have a red card. They had a red card. Okay. Yeah, Will is... I have not seen a card look better than Will yet. The fact that that card can hit 4 drops is, like, completely absurd. It is a deeply appalling brutalizing every time I have ever seen that card cast. Alright, we have Hourglass Coven though. So perhaps this game will be our turn to play the Busted Bomb. Oh, I forgot to play the better basics. We need to go fix that. I think it's probably better to play Steadfast Paladin and actually start gaining life than to play the Viconia. Although if my opponent ends up playing a 2-2 with haste, I guess I'll be sort of sad. But if they play a 3-1 with haste, then my Paladin will look even better. Or they could play a 2-2 First Striker with haste. Sure. Wait, why? Opponent? Did you forget your card at haste? Okay. Oh no, I forgot my opponent's card has First Strike. No, come back, opponent, I promise. I forgot it has First Strike. Well, they successfully didn't block. I was really looking forward to killing their Karlach and then exiling it with Iconia. So if they successfully played around the Indestructible spell last time, do you think they don't attack here to play around the Indestructible spell again? Yeah, apparently the answer is they do. But here's the fun part. They still can't play around this Indestructibility spell. Like, they can't. There's nothing they get to do. Yeah. And guess what? If they think they can play around the Indestructibility spell still, I can still just play Rescuer Schwinga and then give that indestructible. Delightful. They're not attacking or blocking with it because based on the stops that I had on turn 1, they're correctly putting me on having the 1 mana Indestructibility spell. But like, despite the fact that they are correctly playing around it, they actually lack the capacity to truly successfully play around it. Yeah, leading with the planes was kind of a mistake. That is a correct and valuable decline. Bit of information. Alright. I kind of just want that Karlach dead. Especially because I can exile it and deny my opponent the Karlach value. They do gain life, though. That's good for them. Alright. I would like to exile that card before it becomes annoying. Thank you. Black Dragon, huh? Eh. So I could play the Hippogriff. I don't actually have any attacks here. But I guess that lets me start getting in with the Steadfast Paladin. Alternatively, I could discard Black Dragon and play Karlach. I don't think the copy I get has haste. It also can't really attack. I think that means I'm probably just supposed to play the Hippogriff. Basilisk Collar is sort of hard to deal with. Yes, that is true. However, we have like a Hyper Bomb in our hand. And also we have another 6-drop that blows up artifacts and also like makes 2 2/2s and draws a card and gains us life. So we can also top deck that. Bronze Walrus. Okay. Vampire Spawn. You're not what we're looking for. Alright, well, I'd love to get in the air with some flying nonsense. Would I rather discard the Black Dragon or the Vampire Spawn? I think I'd probably rather discard the Black Dragon. Oh, I should have attacked with the 3/4 then. That's just silly. I forgot this got bigger when I specialized. I would happily trade it off with any of their creatures. So, perpetually gaining haste perpetually affects the card, but it grants the card an ability. It does not affect the card as printed for the purposes of layers when it comes to copying the card. So, like, if I played a clone on this Karlach, I do not believe the clone would drain 2. Similarly, copying this hasty Karlach does not result in a Karlach with haste. Can I specialize this Karlach? Yes, I can. But generally, I think you mostly only want to do that from your graveyard. Fiendlash plus Collar. Ooh, yeah. Fiendlash plus Collar. The Fiendlash does make the creature do the damage, so, like, twice the creature gets to gain life. That's pretty solid. Pretty solid. I mean, Astarion's also good, I guess. Alright, well. Into the air with ye. I assume they're gonna block, double block here. Oh, it's got reach. Yeah, okay. That's fine. Still kills the Warcaller, which, like, still requires them to spend more mana re-equipping. And also their life total is, like, hyper low. And I'm sitting here with, like, 2 bombs in hand and a better board state. Isn't that lethal? I don't think so, because they could have still blocked with the Valor Singer, right? Oh, yeah. Can't play our 6-drops. Would definitely be playing our bomb 6-drops if I could play our bomb 6-drops. Alright, Valor Singer has lifelink, and Fiendlash gives double lifelink. That is impressive. So land drop is probably lethal. What are the white and black things? Creatures you control gain +1/+1 in haste. Wow, okay, so that's, like, absurd. So how do we want to kill our opponent? Do we want to give all of our creatures +1/+1 in haste? Or do we want to play Astarion so that they take an additional 6 damage? So they're going to go up to 12, block, take 6, take 6. So Astarion is lethal. Karlach is block, 9 damage, 12 damage with the trigger on the stack. So I think Karlach puts them to -4, which is better. Something like that. Karlach's kind of busted. Like, you can do that from the graveyard and just get 8 power with haste plus an Anthem for 6 mana. Like, that's silly. Alright, let's see. Good 2-drops, which probably shouldn't be surprising because we have, like, infinity 2-drops in this deck. So I could play Viconia, but I think I'm supposed to play the really aggressive card into the flyer. That way we pump the power on the flyer. Like, that's gotta be fun, right? Alright. Opponent does not want to block our 3/1. So Operation Make Opponent Dead begins in earnest. Oh wow, this already had 2 power. Cool. I thought we were turning it into a 2/3, but we're turning it into a 3/1 flyer for 3? That's like stellar. Oh, or we're turning it into dead. That's less stellar. Alright, Pegasus Guardian, not particularly interested in you. Our opponent's doing a very treasury set of nonsense, so that's moderately concerning. Next turn, I can discard this Black Dragon to get back our Nefarious Imp. Although it won't have the specialized benefit at that point anymore. Oh, cool. I lose. That's disappointing.
Perfect. I've got some experimental sparks that need a test.
That's gonna be a problem.
I know some sick.
That's gonna be quite a problem. Yeah, I want to discard this dragon, I'm pretty sure. Because I'd like to be able to replay this imp this turn. And putting the Nefarious Imp into play immediately doesn't really accomplish anything for me anyway, so I might as well try to drain 2. So this is going to put it to 3, and it goes up to 4. Wow, this thing is like actually unkillable while I had board advantage. That's sort of just completely absurd. My opponent didn't even have to kill the Nefarious Imp. The Tasha just invalidated it on its own. There's a very good chance that my opponent could, like, have done literally nothing on the draw into turn 4 Tasha, and I still would be completely incapable of beating that. Okay. I don't really think I'm rewarded for attacking here. So we could still find our Witch's Coven. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Alright. I guess that's not actually the end of the world, because, like, I couldn't attack with them anyway. Ooh. Alright. So the opponent thinks that they can get back the Black Dragon, which, if I want to cast Soon's Intervention, they could, but I think I'm just supposed to not cast that. Take having removed 2 loyalty from their Planeswalker and then activate my gate instead. That's a small mercy. I'll accept this misplay. Thank you, Viconia, for having stuff. Regrettably, though, that was the turn that Tasha hadn't upticked, so I really could have gotten some damage done if I had chosen to play the Soon's Intervention instead. But I guess they would have had a 3/3 blocker, so not really. Yeah. Alright, Ithilid Harvester. How many of my things do you want to turn into 2/2s? The answer should be none, or just the Viconia, because turning these 2 creatures into 2/2s is actually an improvement. Because now they can attack the Tasha. So thank you. Okay. Can I actually kill the Tasha here? I'd like to kill an artifact. I would like to gain life. I would like to make some 2/2s. I have 3 attackers that hit. Yeah, I actually kill the Tasha here. Provided they don't, like, counter this or something. I countered it. Alright. Almost killed the Tasha. It was a nice dream while it lasted. Oh, still, at some point I can draw the Witch's Coven. The Seek on the gate is only once, yes. Okay, Skullport Merchant is pretty brutal. Pseudo-Dragon Familiar is not terribly relevant.
Don't try anything cheeky
How about
now.
that Coven? Nope, just lands. Okay. So despite all of that, I still can't really beat this Planeswalker.
Beware. I know some sickening magic.
Do, 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 do. Guess we block here. Got nothing better to do. Okay. I don't mind them using a combat trick that would stop my blockers. Still kind of just hoping we manage to successfully top deck our Call Coven of Witches. It's like, be out.
Don't come any closer.
Yeah, I'm having to pick which creatures I want to put in the graveyard for the Tasha, which is awkward. Okay, well. Regrettable.
Don't try anything cheeky now.
It's not terribly relevant. We have like one turn here where we can draw the Witch. And that's kind of it. After that, things get bad. Or we could draw lands. Okay, well, that's the end of the game. Sure. So we were miles ahead that game and just could not beat a single Tasha. Just watched streamer be able to target the face down card, but the double team card turned out to be a token that disappeared from hand immediately. I don't understand why. Because you would at that point, I guess, double team into hand the permanent because it's not a token, so it is valid to double team, but the resulting thing you put in your hand is a face down card in your hand, which isn't a real thing? Alright, so the lack of white mana here is a little awkward, but Ambition's cost is really good, and we have a powerful defensive 2-drop in Viconia, so I think this is fine. We do want to make land drops, but that's fine. Yeah, it's a conjured copy of a face down card. It's a conjured card that is a copy of a face down card. Okay. Now this is interesting. Can I discard Steadfast Paladin to make a white Viconia? And in response to the specialized that the discard cost is Steadfast, I have to do this. I hope my opponent doesn't blow me out by like playing a removal spell on my Viconia here, because I just need to know if this works. No, because it targets the creature card exiled. You don't choose on resolution. Okay, so it does not work. because the target has to be chosen when you put the specialized trigger on the stack. Also, there's always the possibility that they just had a Dragon's Fire, and so I like would have gotten blown out. But yeah, okay, good to know. You can't discard the card to Viconia, then exile it. Alright. Well, not hitting a white source or a 4th land drop was also a possibility. So that's pretty rough. I'm kind of grateful that they didn't just play the 4-1 and try to kill me. The fact that they milled themselves instead is polite. I'm going to hit a land drop and then like have to play Ambition's Cost. Okay, cool. It is not a swamp. So I am not forced to play Ambition's Cost and then discard to hand size, which would have been the truly most brutal of all worlds. Okay. I don't really care that this thing is like a 5-mana 3/3 with flying. I can live with that. I could attack with Steadfast Paladin just to gain some life, I guess. Alternatively, I could just Ambition's Cost so I can start playing 6-drops, which is probably what I'm supposed to do. That was, in fact, completely what I was supposed to do. So not attacking with the Steadfast Paladin actually has some benefit here, because now if they attack with both of their flyers, Steadfast Paladin gets to block the 1/1 that the Lulu makes, kill the 1/1, and still gain the life anyway. Yeah, creatures get... No, creatures don't get anything, they just mill. I forgot this card, like, doesn't do anything. You'd think I would remember that. Okay. How are we doing this? I'm probably attacking with the Steadfast Paladin and then playing Hourglass Coven is probably the most impactful move here. Alternatively, playing Asterion does actually result in the most life gain. Huh. Not necessarily this turn, but eventually. I'm going to assume you don't block, right? It's got to just be play Hourglass Coven. Okay, especially if they block. Now my life total is so excellent. Well, no, you. At the beginning of your upkeep, target creature an opponent controls gets -2/-1. Each opponent mills 5 cards, then exile each opponent's graveyard. That sounds like exactly what I want to be doing. At the beginning of your upkeep, each opponent mills 5 cards. Yeah, that sounds like I just won the game if they can't board wipe me. That sounds extremely stupid. Mill 10 every turn is very good. That's so deeply stupid. Alright, opponent. You gotta kill me this turn. This card's dumb. This is so dumb. That was dumb. Alright. We don't really have anything like a 2-drop here, but we have like infinity 2-drops, so let's just draw one. Yeah, alternatively, 3-drop ramp spell into 6-drop bomb is a functional game plan of sorts. I would not feel very comfortable about this if we were on the draw, but thankfully we're on the play. Ooh, I have to discard cards? I mean, that probably means that I'm just, like, supposed to ship the Hippogriff and the Plains, and then just play Ambition's Cost next turn. I think I'm pretty okay with that. There we go. Alright, solid. Successfully undoing my opponent's Mind Rot. This is such a bizarre game where I'm, like, powerfully doing nothing. I was really expecting my opponent to pump the Wilson there, so that their Knoll would also get pumped on attack, but the fact that they did not do that works pretty well for me. So now I get to block when they need a pump spell to get out of it. That said, somehow, despite not playing anything all game, I am in a position where my hand is only full of 2-drops and 3-drops. I'm really not sure how we got here. Okay. Well, I'm definitely getting out-tempoed. So let's play a 3-1 and a 3-2 lifelinker and a 2-2. And I guess we're good. We're kind of making up for the off-tempo early start. I think Vampire Spawn is so bad and sealed. I've been very impressed by this card. It has consistently put in work. In, like, every deck and every strategy that I put it in, I've been very satisfied with it. The damage and the life gain and the well-statted blocking just seems to do pretty well in this format that tends to revolve around 2-2s and 3-2s. Well, we are gumming up the board, and now we get to start dirtling with Lantern and Gate, so I guess this works. Ooh, okay. Well, that's a lot of cards for our opponent, though. Glad you came around on Spawn. I mean, I'm not saying that it's, like, as quality as an uncommon or a high-value pick, but I do think that it's definitely solid filler for your curve in black. Now, Vampire Spawn was quite literally the best or second best black common in AFR. I mean, the power level of on-curve options in formats is completely relative to the power to the average stat line of the other playable creatures in the format. So it is not unreasonable for a card to be medium if it... do I want to, like... What do I want to trade for Knoll Hunter? I can trade Nefarious Imp, or I could trade Flame Fist, because I can always sack something to Sepulchre Ghoul. I guess I might as well keep around the Sepulchre Ghoul. Whenever one or more. Okay, so that was kind of a mistake. I should have put the Sepulchre Ghoul in front of it and then sacked the 3-1. I didn't realize Nefarious Imp didn't trigger every time. So if I had sacked something to Sepulchre Ghoul, I would be getting 2 scry triggers here, which would be better. Ooh, Fiona, you're delightful. But I can't play you and specialize you this turn. But I can play you and activate Gate and exile something, so I should probably do that. Do I want to attack here? I allow them to specialize if I attack. Do I want to do that? I could just try to kill my opponent, I guess. That's kind of interesting. Alright, what the heck. Let's try to kill the opponent. Okay, opponent. If you want to race, we can race. I mean, my opponent's going to take damage from this Shadowheart just as much as I am. They can specialize with it. I guess they can give it lifelink. That's actually annoying. Yeah. I forgot about that. Every other one is all about doing more damage, but the black one actually is about gaining more life. Wilson. Okay. So that's more damage. They can also specialize Shadowheart? Yeah, okay. I think I made a mistake. That's true, we can block and sack. Alright, alright. Opponent may not have considered that. I didn't. Although it does still do 2 damage at the end of turn that also gains lifelink. Okay, if you're not attacking with a Wilson, then I think I'm fine not even bothering with the block and sack here. It's just not going to do damage fast enough for that to be a serious problem. Alright, do we want the owlbear? Probably. Ooh, what could I summon undead? Nothing terribly meaningful. So are we just discarding summon undead to get an owlbear and then playing an owlbear? I mean, that sounds fine. That's probably fine. Gain life. Draw a card. Get to flicker an owlbear, drain life, draw a card again. We built an even better owlbear to blink. How delightful. Should I attack with everything? They do get to eat one of my things, but they take a lot of damage. And then I get to blink the owlbear after blocking the Shadowheart anyway? Yeah, okay. It's not like it punished me last time. They should super be blocking the Sepulchre Ghoul here. Like, they just actually left me the sack outlet on board and prevented less damage overall. I don't want to swamp. Oh, are they dead? No, they're one off dead. You got lucky this time, opponent. We do indeed own this owlbear, yes. Oh, look at that. Isn't that delightful? 3 triggers. Oh, scrying swamps to the bottom. Feels great. Alright. Okay, opponent's got a lot of blockers. They're keeping it real. Wait, what? Oh, okay, right. So it gains 2 life, but it still does 1 damage to them, so it only net gains them 1 life. Sure. Oh, okay. I mean, if this game was the game in which we had the debate about vampire spawns, we essentially cast 4 vampire spawns this game. And I think that 8 damage has greatly contributed to us winning this game. Good times. Okay, so we have 6 drop, 6 drop, 6 drop, 3 lands on the draw. This is a pretty bad keep. So of course we're going to keep. Yeah, hyper powerful defensive 2 drop. What more could you ask for? Opponent didn't play an aggressive 2 drop. That's a good start. Camera. Oh, that's fair. That's fair. Oh, opponent. Ye have no idea how much you have messed up. Thank you for the ramp. So remember how I was talking earlier today about how I felt pretty good about minimus containment because it very rarely had felt like it mattered that a player got a treasure token? This does not feel like that. This feels like it is a very big deal that I have gotten a treasure token, me sitting here with my mono 6-drop hand. Because we are gonna get to play the Coven and then blink it, and that's a pretty big deal. I don't think minimus containment is, like, really bad. I think it's fine. But I also don't think that it's something you want to play on curve. Minimus containment is like playing Eye of the Beholder. It's a late game removal spell when players are top decking. Conjure a duplicate of a random creature card from an opponent's library. Hey, cool. They didn't get my 2 best creatures because both of those are in my hand. Delightful. Alright, well. Just gonna play this card then. I'm gonna put that on the bottom because I'm pretty sure I just want my 6th land. Alright, warlocks you control have ward pay 2 life. Menace, at the beginning of your upkeep, each opponent discards a card. That sounds fine. That's probably the right one. Oh no! This has gone so poorly. I don't want Scry 2. I mean, I kind of want Scry 2. I guess I don't hate Scry 2. Let's just make my opponent lose their entire hand no matter what. That's probably fine. Slow Mind Rot. I do not think we bother blocking. Yeah, Menace would be fine after blinking it, I guess that's true. But, like, I'd rather remove their hand so that they can't remove the Hourglass Coven in response to a blink or counter my blink or anything. You're not going to play anything while I'm, like, double discarding you, opponent? Okay. I mean, I guess that does let you hold on to a card. Are we going to try to kill Hourglass Coven in response to these discards? Because that's going to be very sad for the opponent if that's how this plays out. Alright, we discard a Blessed Hippogriff that they had stolen from me. And here's something on the watch. Okay. And I get an indestructibility spell to also protect my Hourglass? Alright, that sounds excellent. Draw a card, then discard a card. Sure. Snowborn Simulacra. That's what we didn't play? We didn't play 3 mana, get an Hourglass Coven? Really? Okay. Well, if you say so, opponent. I mean, I kind of feel like I can just not play anything and leave him dead on board. Fraying Line? Oh no. I'm gonna have to, like, pay mana for that. Hopefully I'll have 2 mana to pay for that. No, they conceded with my Hag in Exile. That's kind of like a removal spell. Dang. I didn't play around that at all. Yeah, so I'm going to go with Minimus Containment, answering the 2-drop on curve. Not the correct way to play Minimus Containment. That seems like the largest takeaway from this particular game. Okay. We will keep the hand that has lots of 2-drops. We weren't going to want a 3rd land, but like other than that we can manage. Okay. Well, with 2 indestructibility spells, I think we start by playing the Lifelinker. Genasi Rabble Rouser. That's a little rude. If the opponent blocks, I get to Armor of Shadows to kill it, I guess? Oh, but if I Armor of Shadows, I can't play anything else. Huh, that sucks. Alright, opponent. You got me this time. Alright, I guess we're just playing on curve. Getting the 3-drop down now while I can is probably correct. No blocks. It's kind of a bummer that I had a plains. If I had 2 black sources instead of 2 white sources, that would have been in a pretty decent timed Armor of Shadows. Okay, so we are leaving back the Steadfast Paladin then. I guess I can attack with a Nefarious Imp safely. I think I'm supposed to play the Sepulchre Ghoul. Sepulchre Ghoul. So now the opponent shouldn't really be able to attack into this. Because I'm representing a 4/4 Ghoul. More Rabble Rousers, very well. Yeah. I actually wish you would have mistakenly attacked so that I could actually use this Hippogriff opponent. Oh, okay. We are approaching the point at which the lack of land drops is going to cause issues. Well, this is deeply, deeply, deeply troublesome. I can't afford to just go shields down and to go shields up past doing nothing on this board state. So I kind of have to just go shields down. It's not the end of the world if the opponent gets 1 good attack in where I don't block. Red dragon. That's kind of not the greatest for me. But my life total is still solid. And also, yeah, okay, so they're not actually attacking. Okay, good draw, good draw. Let's see, do we just play Servok then? Keep playing to the board? I don't really want to hold anything up. Even if I do hold something up, I'm still not actually holding up a block on the red dragon anyway. Although I guess holding up Blessed Hippogriff means that I could just play Blessed Hippogriff if we wind up using it. And then we have a double block on the dragon, but not a good double block on the dragon? Okay. More flyers. But young red dragon we can actually answer. So I believe what I'm doing is attacking with Servok here. And then I'm just going to Blessed Hippogriff if they block it, which they don't. Okay. Sure. So presumably they attack with a young red dragon. I get to Blessed Hippogriff the Nefarious Imp to protect that. Then next turn I play Blessed Hippogriff holding up Armor of the Shadows, which gives us a double block on the red dragon. And I think my life total is sufficient that I can dirtle around like that and have that be fine. Opponent flooding. Cool. Creatures you control gain menace. Well, my life total is fine, so that's fine. If they had more mana to pump the Rabble Rouser again, it could be a bigger problem. The 2 flyers not being blockable, that bit sucks. That bit's a bummer. Okay. Yeah, that bites. Oh, okay. Well, everything has lost menace now. Well, now my life total is a lot less conducive to making the timing on this work. You really not attacking with the young red dragon in? It's so mean, opponent. Alright, well, gotta chump. Can't take 4. That's just a 3/3 that doesn't really matter. Let's go ahead and gain some life with the flicker. Get to scry towards a land. I believe that I desperately want that land. Alright, now we have flying blockers. Will that be good enough? The Rabble Rousers are pretty scary. Flyers are also scary, and my opponent having more creatures than me is also scary. If we can set up a good block on their flyers, then we get to Soon's Intervention, which kind of equals out the board eventually. The Armor of Shadows only saves one of our creatures if we double block the red dragon. The other one will still die. We should note that they can sacrifice anything other than Sepulchre Ghoul. Oh, come on. Just top deck double strike to save their red dragon. Cool. Okay, do we give both of those double strike? Okay, that means that I'm chump blocking the red dragon and then using Armor of Shadows to kill the young red dragon. That way, we'll survive the double strike and actually kill the young red dragon. But I can't kill the red dragon because the double strike will kill off the lethal damage in first strike. Vampire spawn. I do not think that is what we are looking for right now. Okay, so I have a chump block set up for the red dragon next turn. Pegasus is the beginning of my instep. If a permanent I controlled left the battlefield, create a 1/1. Which isn't what I want. Because I have no way to trigger that on my turn. Playing Pegasus Guardian makes it so the red dragon can't attack, which I think is probably what I'm supposed to prioritize over playing the Soon's Intervention. Hopefully they don't top deck something that opens up the air for an attack again. They're definitely getting close to the point where they can attack really profitably on the ground. I don't actually have good blocks on the Rabble Rousers. I kind of just have to chump block with them. I mean, I can throw Servak in front of one of them. The other gets chump blocked. Well, I guess the other gets chump blocked by Sepulchre Ghoul, maybe? Oh, wow, the Abundance is not doing anything? Radical. Okay, let's exile that young red dragon. I'm probably not going to ever get that back with Viconia. I probably actually should have spent my time exiling my Nefarious Imp, come to think of it. Alright, well, I can't play that because it's legendary. I mean, I guess I could. Would trigger Pegasus Guardian. It's probably wrong. I could attack with Steadfast Paladin, which just dies but turns into a 1/1 and gains 2 life. Is that reasonable? Anything else I attack, they just take. Oh, they could block it with a 1/3, and then I've gained 2 life, but I don't get the 1/1 blocker. I don't think I can afford that. Well, I can actually, because I'm about to play Soon's Intervention. Okay. And actually, I gain more than 2 life. I gain 3. That's fine. Oh, which also means they can't block with a 1/3, because then the 1/3 dies. Yeah. Okay, this is good. We can't really specialize here because I don't want to discard either of these cards. Okay, so they go with Hook Horror, which doesn't actually work because I've got an onboard answer to it. But they tried. It does not get returned because it is exiled, and I still get my 1/1. Sweet! Call that a victory. Horde Robber, that's not relevant. Alright, I think we're successfully turning this around. We can make Ghoul fly. Oh, if on the attack with Blessed Hippogriff. That's true. Once Red Dragon is gone. Boop, boop. Let's go ahead and make a bunch of creatures. Summon Undead. Do I have anything reasonable? Not really. I could start, like, actually, how close are we? What do you give? First strike? First strike or massive pumps? That's an interesting question. How close to lethal are we? Pretty close to lethal. I don't know. Why not try going for it? Put a bunch of ghouls in the graveyard, go to combat. Pump this hippogriff. Swing, 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 swing. This forces the chump block. Is this fine? This probably isn't actually fine, but whatever. So we're looking at 8 damage. Oh, we're still not even putting them to drain range with Viconia? Bummer. Okay. Well, do I need to sack something? I probably do. What are we putting them to now? 5? Yeah, I need to do 1 more damage than this. I want them at 4. I can sack the 1/1 actually to do that, right? That puts them to 4? Yeah, okay, that works. And still leaves me maximum blockers. Because I can do 4 damage by sacking my vampire spawn, exiling it with Viconia, and then specializing into a double drain vampire spawn. I mean, in addition to just like having a bunch of flying attackers next turn anyway. Opponent kind of correctly realizing that they sort of just have to do that this turn. Chumpity, 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 chumpity. No, chumpity. I don't want to lose my vampire. Wait, yeah, I literally want to lose my vampire spawn. So of course I should put it in front of the ghoul. Okay. Maybe I should have put more stuff in front of the rabble-rousers to play around trample? Instead of trying to kill their stuff? I guess it's not actually even that big. It's only like 4 power plus trample. Which is, like, fine.